You know, we've been dealing with this will, but when you talk about this, about the human resource processes that you actually go through, the planning, job analysis, job design, selection and recruitment, training development, performance appraisal, and then we'll be moving on to compensation and reward. And what happens here if you go through this and you have a poor area here in job analysis and job design? What do you think will happen how would it affect performance appraisal? If you have a poor job analysis and job design component in your human resource management aspects.
You wouldn't have the appropriate criteria for evaluation if you didn't have a correctly analyzed and defined job.
At the same time, you may have a job that perhaps doesn't have enough activities, it's not challenging enough. You may have a job that spreads you too thin, and so therefore someone's never able to do an adequate job in any component. The person, instead of working 100% 40-hour a week, they're working 200% within a 40-hour week. So therefore, they're only putting approximately 50% of their effort in any component. What happens here now, you go from job analysis, job design, you come down here to selection and recruitment. How would that affect performance appraisal? If you go out there and you don't have a real pool of applicants to select from, and you got your job specifications, and they're not meeting those or marginally meeting those, then what do you think will happen in the areas of selection and recruitment? Yes, Karen?
I'm kind of facing that situation now in my present job. We're recruiting for what we call a clinical coordinator to work with physicians at the hospital and software that we're using. We had a little bit of a discrepancy. I hope nobody from my personnel department is watching. Personnel posted the job different than what we would have liked, so now the applicants we're getting don't have the qualifications we're exactly looking for, so we're going to be real particular in our interview questions to get what we want out of what personnel is sending to us to select.
Okay, that's a good example. Anybody in Nashville in the areas of recruitment and selection? It's almost like our master's and doctorate program now. We're trying to get more people in the pipeline so we can choose the top and therefore have low maintenance students that they can teach themselves and we don't have to teach them. What about the areas of training and development? How would that affect performance appraisal? Let's say hypothetically you bring someone in. We talked about what? Recruitment, selection, and socialization. And Scott did his presentation last week on those three areas. So let's say if you bring marginal people in, then training will have to increase, right? And typically if you bring marginal people in and it's not very competitive, what will happen then? You're going to have a high turnover. So if you're paying entry-level salaries, and if you have a high turnover, you're going to constantly go through this reprocess. So in reality, you're never ever able to really evaluate people on an adequate basis, right? You got someone that's constantly turning over, how can you evaluate them? Typically, within 90 days, you have a probation area, 60-day, or 6 months here at the University of Tennessee, you have a probation area. You can actually dismiss someone without even having a reason why. The person's just not a good fit. So obviously, you want to keep this, but this all intertwines throughout. It's not a linear process unless you're starting a new organization.